buddy and I went down and just enlisted, and they said, well, you'll be leaving here in 2 weeks. So we got home, and the phone rang a couple hours later and said, be on a bus in the morning. So that 2 weeks turned into 1 day. So the next morning was on a Greyhound going to San Diego. So, and then 3 months of hell up there, because it was winter time, and you'd have to wash your clothes at nighttime and hang them out. Well, it was cold weather, so they wouldn't even dry. Next morning, you had to put them on while they were still wet. And it was kind of miserable. But then I got out and went on a ship and made 3 trips to Japan, or 4 trips to Japan. And it was a good experience. Called a boiler tender. I made sure the fires would pull the ship. So I was one that turned the boilers on and off. They trained me for it, and I was good at that. Well, they call it the fire room. What I was on had 2 stacks. Well, I was on the front stack. Well, between the stacks, you got an engine room. So you got an engine room for each stack. You got first engine room, then a stack, and then a back engine room. Well, I was in the front boiler room. So, and who went in and out of port, well, of course the ship has to back up to get into, so I had to make sure that the steam didn't go too high or too low. You had to keep it a certain thing. So you had to know what you was doing to cut the boilers in and out. So anyway, I did it. It was fun. Rode around and just seen the country a lot of times, In fact, every time we would go out, I'd get seasick. I mean, that was, for 2 days, you're just seasick. So you'd eat a lot of crackers because you get what you call the dry heaves. You'd throw up everything that you had, and then you'd throw up something you didn't have. So you'd try to eat crackers, and we was out at sea for a month at a time. So after a couple of days, then you'd be all right. But it was rough. But other than that, I enjoyed it, But out in the ocean, you look around and all you see is ocean. You don't see anything else. You stand watch for 8 on, 8 off, 8 on, 8 off. And you try to sleep that 8 hours you're off, and sometimes it's hard because your ship's tossing and turning, and it's a lot different than being home in your bed, I'll tell you. Well, there's a lot of guys there, but I was in one bunk for 3 years and 3 months. I mean, I got a spot, and that was it for 3 years and 3 months till I got to another ship. The first one was a destroyer. It's called a 2100 class. It had 5-inch mounts on it. Each mount had one barrel, 5-inch. And they had 5 gun mounts. And to have a chow, you had to come out and go topside. And if you was out in rough weather, well, you're going to get wet because the water come over the sides. But the other ship I was on was a 2250. It had 2 barrels on each mount. And if you went to have a chow, you stayed inside. You didn't have to go topside. It's just a bigger destroyer. So, and the first one was USS Owen, and the number was 536. And the other one was Mackenzie, George K. Mackenzie, and its number was 836, 536 and 836. No, they burnt what they call fuel oil. It's like to me it was a thick oil. But they had these tubes that the oil went through, and on the end of them they called an orifice, just like your stove would have, and they got different sizes. Well, you got a rack here that shows the size of them, and this tube is about probably 2 foot long, and you just shove it in, and you got a latch go down. And then you turn the oil on, and it goes through this orifice to give you more fire, or less fire, whatever you're looking for. So, but you're looking at this gauge up here that's supposed to be at 600 degrees. if it starts falling off, and you got a big orifice in this, or a smaller one, maybe you have to change to a bigger one. So you turn it off and jerk that out, and you've got a wrench. You just knock it off, put a bigger orifice in it, stick it back in, and I mean, you got to do this in like 15 or 20 seconds. And so that's what I was trained to do, and there was nobody faster than I was. A lot of times we'd go into port at nighttime, and I'd be sleeping. Well, they'd, hey, go get McCants, we're going in port. So I had to get up and go and get the ship into port, because they knew I can, you know, could keep the steam up at 600 degrees. We can go over, we can go under. I don't know, it's a good experience. You know, I wasn't a troublemaker or anything, but I knew if I didn't go into service, I'd get in trouble here, you know, because there was nothing to do, you know, as a kid, except there wasn't a lot of jobs around back then. So it's either go into service. So, and I'm glad I did, you know, got it out of the way. But it's just something that you couldn't plan anything, you know, because you're in the service. I couldn't say, well, I'll see you next weekend, because I didn't know where I'd be next weekend. But I was just glad to get out. But I was glad I was in. And just a very good experience.